Yo, 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 we have a winner, Mr. Brooks. Good evening, young sir. You have to forgive my voice. My throat is absolutely killing me. So I'm going to be drinking some special fortified fizzy stuff. My own concoction. I'll apologise now if I start coughing in the stream. Not well. Anyway. For anyone watching this after the live stream, welcome to MADtrading. I'm your host, MADtrader. A face for radio and a voice for silent film. So, let's have a quick mooch at the strategy. There's no extra trades. I've not put anything on since Friday. Well, in fact, since the 11th. Excuse me. That ended up in a loss. It was a stupid trade to take, and we'll go into that one in a second or two. But basically, there's no extra trades been taken or set. On the graph side of life, we've still got 1684% gain, 75% win rate, and the P&L or profit and loss graph is on the right side of 0, which is good. So there's 337 here. Gains, I've only just logged on earlier. It's actually 340. There's money that you get or have to pay for overnight swaps and fees and things through IG. 2 seconds. So much yellowy, browny, greeny, purpley phlegm, it's not even funny. Anyway. Now that we're looking at the charts, let's start from the left. Brent crude, US Russell, and AUD USD on Friday. 3 to look at. Yeah, no worries. I'll have a quick look see at that, dude. In fact, we'll do that now, shall we? Brent crude. I took Brent crude off only because the daily was a bit much. But let's have a excuse me. Let's have a quick quick look at that. Oil Brent crude. I'll add it back in, why not? On the daily, please. It obviously keeps my other live trades. Right, so yes, no, that's definitely a it's close to it's close to a engulfing, not quite there, and I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm most definitely long oil, both Brent and the US suite as well, only because long-term prospects are that it's going to go even higher, same as natural gas. But for this one, it is not a engulfing candle. Let's just, well, not on my screen anyway. Let's have a quick mooch. High to low, back to high again, and across. So the upper wick is definitely higher than the previous day's wick. However, the low of this wick is higher than the previous day's low wick. So that's not a fully engulfing candle. Yes, the body does engulf the previous day's body. Excuse me, but the wicks are not in keeping with what I was trying to, or should have been saying from the start. You can, I mean, I think it's probably 50-50 sometimes whether these work or not. And if you were to backtest it and look at other engulfing or larger engulfing candles, then you would probably say 50% will win, 50% won't. Yeah, I'm going to make it through the stream. Don't worry, dude. It's going to be a short one. Tonight, unless it's going to be a short one unless other people or you ask more questions. I don't mind doing that. I've got my carbonated fizziness next to me. Anyway, yeah, so because this is not a engulfing candle in the MAD strategy, but it still worked out. So you if you wanted to, it's demo, it's trial and error. You can try it if you want. I would have imagined that we are now coming to the bottom of our slow decline down. Well, you don't normally get a slow decline. on declines, you normally get a fast push down. If we look at the weekly, we better see that it's still, stupid computer, better see that it's still higher than, or it's not breached the low of this week's candle. So it's still in an uptrend because we're above the 200. And if you look at the monthly, which is ridiculous, I wonder what we were doing on this candle here. I know what I was doing on this candle here. I was buying, but anyway, never mind. And don't look at the stochastic. We don't use the stochastic for entries on the daily or 4 hourly. But the monthly and the weekly are both in an uptrend. So on the daily, I would have suggested this. It might pop down a little bit. I doubt that it will make the 261. It might do, but it will probably come down and then cup and handle it on the way back up. And as we go through, a couple more months or maybe a month more of the demo side of life, you'll get to see, when you're looking back at this, you'll get to see that if that's a high on the left hand chart and this is the low, it didn't breach that high, but it did breach the low, and it spiked below, and then it didn't breach this high, and then it spiked below, and then it made an effort, I suppose, to go higher, but it didn't. So there's another high and there's another low, but this has been breached by this. So statistics, that's all I look at really. Statistically speaking, you're now looking at the possibility this is a bottom, a double tap, and it might just shoot up. I might be wrong, and it could fall over. You never know what Truss and her circus are going to be saying tomorrow, or what America are going to be doing, or whether natural gas shoots up through the roof. No point looking at the Russell or AUD USD. We'll have a quick look. So the Russell, let's get to the Russell. It's up here somewhere. There it is. So yeah, Russell. So on the daily, I mean, yes, good. A for effort, well done. It's definitely below the 200. So we're only looking for shorts. But these are massive spikes. These don't normally happen on such a frequent basis. So big spike, going to change. Big spike, going to change. You tend to see big spike and some change. Excuse me. Might not happen. It might continue down. Again, you never know what's going to happen with America. And if you're reading into things such as their interest rates are going to go spiking through the roof, you would imagine that they would then say, oh yeah, we're definitely in a recession. And then all sorts of things, go wrong. But America being America, they change the rules left, right and centre, and Wall Street might start buying up shares within the Russell 2000. That's the top 2000, certain types of shares with American on the Russell list. Wall Street might start buying, and it will pop back up again. So it could go down, it could go up. I would have imagined it's going to plateau. This is a bottom that it just keeps on touching. It might hit back down here again and continue on up. Anyway, yeah, so another one for the Russell and AUD USD, boss. Let's have a look, see. AUD USD. Again, that's it probably will. The Aussie dollar has been taking a battering for quite some time, since April. And if you look at the weekly side of life, it's got a way to go. It's going to come down to somewhere within this price range. So between where it is now and 55.15, it's going to come down to here somewhere, and you'll not know where that will be. And it could be now, because it does look as though it's about to turn over on the stochastic, but we don't use the stochastic to make trading decisions. Excuse me. But that's the same as this candle here. Not the big red one next to it. So this candle here on the 9th of March 2020. But yet it still spiked down even further, even though the stochastic had turned over and it was on its way up. So don't think that the market is going to do what it probably should do anyway. But just play the numbers, play for the stats or statistics of it. Excuse me for a second. and go for the full engulfing candles on the daily or 4 hourly. This one obviously would have worked out. Let's just see whether it would have. Top to bottom, move it over. Not yet. It might do. It might spike down and hit the 261 from this candle. I'm gonna say that's a possibility, but let me get rid of that before I think I took the trade. It might not. It might continue on up. Excuse me for a second. Blimey, there's me talking for God knows how long. I didn't realise there was no sound. Sorry, buddy. My bad. So, sweet Russell 30. Sorry, Russell 2000. It's a no-go. Remember, high of the. Did you see my mouse flitting around the screen? Sorry, buddy. I've got a major headache. I'm not concentrating well tonight. So just to go over it again, the high of the candle today, the wick today, must be higher than the previous body or previous candle wick, and the low of the today's wick needs to be lower than the previous candle's wick low for it to be a fully engulfing candle for my sorry mate, thanks, for my strategy, or for this strategy anyway. Sweetie 30, I was just saying that I trade this on my live account. Took 3 good trades through the wife's account over the past month and a bit, and it works out quite well, really. So if you haven't already got the Sweden 30 on your IG list, stick it at the top there. It's quite good. Just watch it. You don't have to trade it for now. It's quite a cheap indices to trade. Where's my measure tool? Here we go. So even a big candle like that is only 68 points, and that might seem a lot, but remember, we don't just wait for one trade to set up and only trade that. We would have traded, or we did trade, this candle, that candle, and this candle, and there's another candle here as well. I wasn't around to trade that one, unfortunately. But all 3 of these worked out, and they would have gone to 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 in some cases. But remember, we're only looking for 1 to 1.61 or 261 on the fib. So stick that up on your list and just keep an eye out. Just watch out for that one. It is a good indicator of how the other side of Europe are dealing with stuff. New Zealand US dollar. Again, there's no trade. I've had a quick look. There's no tradable candles on any of these. Excuse me for a second. But still, if you were in a New Zealand USD from the 6th of October, you would still be in it. We are not. We'll go over one or two trades in a second or two. But yeah, nothing today or on Friday. US 500, nothing on this, and we're extended away from the 200. We've been going on a excuse me, going on a downward slope since around about this time here. So what was that? Let's go for April. Yes, it's peaked above and it's popped its little head above a couple of times, but it's not made head, it's not continued on in that direction, and it's fallen over. And the US 500 is the top 500 certain types of companies in America. They're not doing too well at the minute, so I would probably think there might be some more downside, only for a little bit, and then America will probably step back in and go, no, we're going to throw loads of cash at you, and then bring everyone back up. That was the Sweden 30, so the Swede 30s, the indices. If you go on to indices, you can find it in there, or if you just click on the little search button and type in Swede, it'll come up as, there's only one E, stupid, overdosed idiot. Sweden 30, top one there, and when you do get it, it might pop up as a futures contract. You don't want the futures contract one. You want the cash or the daily funded bet. And the only reason for that is that if you check out the price here, that's 18.53 to sell it on the futures. On the cash, it's 18.54. So it's a little bit cheaper on the futures, and that does give you a little indication of what's going to happen the next day. But you don't want to be caught out selling on this price when the engulfing candle is not set up correctly on the daily funded. It's exactly the same chart, but the cash, the daily cash market, the daily funded bet is the one that moves the price of it. Nice one, good. Where would we get to? US 50. So DAX Germany 40. No trade, and it looks as though it's the eurozone itself, certainly Germany, are going to start to fight back. Most people don't do what I do. I read into certain things. I take snippets of other bits of information from other people and other podcasts and whatnot, and I look at other bits of news from other sources, and from what I read here and other people are telling me, is because Ukraine and other areas have had to dramatically slow down and in some instances stop production of certain items, Germany and other aspects of the eurozone have taken up that mantle and are producing more and more. For example, I've got a friend who's a very good friend who's got his own plumbing business. He would source most of his certain type of plumbing item for your house, and your toilet it is. He would source that from the Ukraine. It was the best place to get it from, in bulk or in a certain price range anyway, that was of good materials. Can no longer get that because they can't make them anymore because they're not getting the materials in to start with, and the people have either been injured, taken off, or removed from their homes, obviously because of the Russian thing. So he can't get that item anymore from Ukraine. He either pays more and gets it from someone else, but it's a slightly different model, in which case he'd have to do lots more work to get it fitted into a standard toilet. So from what I read, from what I hear, his items are now being produced in Germany and France. So thankfully, other companies, other people are taking up the mantle and are producing the stuff that we in the rest of old Europe, so Britain, need. So I think that maybe certainly the France or the CAC, the DAX, and other places are going to start to pick up, I would have imagined, because we're going to be buying more things from them in the future. But for now, DAX no trade. FTSE here at home. Wow, you know, Truss has completely. Well, she hasn't got any trust. I don't think even the markets know what to do with her. I would expect this to have a greater fall over. It's not breached this high here. We're still in a downtrend. However, we only play the candles that we can see, and this is not a fully engulfing candle. Don't trade the Sunday candle. Euro USD, no candle, no trade on this one. We're definitely in a downtrend. The euro, as we were talking about before, has been taking an absolute smash bashing since June 21. We know why this happened, and you know, same. It won't go back that far, but same again in 2008. There was a big old push down, but this is nothing but a bit of. I don't even know if I can say the word or not on YouTube, but a bit of illness that struck the world, thinking that Europe was going to be, you know, mushed over. It bounced a few times, and then in July, I think it all just took its toll, and it's been falling over ever since. There was lots of other things involved in that. Talks of certain other things, that the loss of certain manufacturing processes and raw materials that they couldn't get hold of. So, and this is the whole Eurozone. So Euro and versus USD, because they don't sell a great deal to America, and America don't sell a great deal to them, really. It's all dependent on what we do for ourselves in Europe. Anyway, no trade here on the Euro USD. Yeah, no trade on USD Japanese yen. Nothing on the pound doll hair. USD chef, again, nothing there. AUD CAD, nothing there. That would have been a good one, actually, if this price had just popped up and taken over this candle, then that might have been a good entry criteria. It's not. It didn't. We won't. We've been over the Russell. AUD USD done that as well. Wall Street. So this is more for information, as we were saying on another video or two. Excuse me for a second. What was I saying? Yeah, so it's more for information than anything else, because it's just too rich to play with. But I would imagine, because it's not breached this high, there's going to be more down. Excuse me, more downside until America steps in and starts to print money again. Basically, they bring interest rates up. It'll be easier for the market to take money away from certain companies and put it into savings accounts, but those savings accounts will then start to buy up through funds. Will start to buy up American companies. So it's 6 and 2 3s. Pound yen, a ridiculous move on the daily. Where was it? It was absolutely stupid. Since probably Wednesday, Thursday, 22nd of September, it's just had these stupid moves. And I did mention to a couple of people, I think one of them was Ken, that, you know, not to take this low, not to take this candle, because historically speaking, if you look back at the 200, it's been bouncing off of it quite, you know, easily, apart from here where it's just gone, no, I don't want to play anymore. And then the buyers have said, no, we're going to start to play again, and it just breaches straight through it. This bit didn't play ball. So I think I said something along the lines of, don't take this trade, as it's probably a false breakout and or false push down, and it'll probably push back up again. It did exactly that. Unfortunately, because I didn't get corralled into it, but unfortunately, one or two people had spoken to me privately on WhatsApp and through Messenger and said, no, I've got to do it if I'm trying to show people that you take every candle. Consistency is key, and they're right. You know, consistency is key. I had to take the trade, so I took the trade on the 11th. Let's just look back at that one again. So here on the 11th, that's when I set it to go short at that 15.973. It literally, it took me in because of the spread. It took me in just as it pipped it, and then shot back up north again. So it's a stupid trade. One, because I pretty much could guarantee it was going to jump away and go long. But second of all, it was too rich for a £2,000 account. Cheapest I could do was 50p a point. Let me just turn my headset down. I don't like my voice at the best of times. I don't really want to hear it about 5 times. There we go. Yeah, so that's too rich. 147 quid on a £2,000 account is just far too much. As close to £100 as we can get it is best. So 99.28, fine. You know, 97, that's fine. 99.40, great. 99.51, fine. But 147 quid is 50% more, or nearly 50% more than what I really wanted to lose. Anyway, because of that loss, that took this losing spike down further than it should have. It shouldn't have lost that. We would have been up at 484, less 100 would be 384. And that doesn't sound a lot because we're at 337, but excuse me, another 47 quid would have been on that balance, and our percent loss gain would have been higher, and our win rate would have stayed the same. And this little graph here, this is the thing I look at when I'm trying to show family or other people who are interested, you know, why a mechanical strategy is so easy and is the way ahead, until you go down to the hourly, 15-minute and so on. Because it just, you don't have to do anything really. It's easy gains, and it just keeps on plodding its way up. Anyway, it was a stupid trade. Shouldn't have taken it. It did. But yeah, that's another loss for the account, unfortunately. And as I said on the last video, Barrett Developments or Persimmon or whoever you want. In fact, I don't think I've showed Persimmon. Let me have a look. See, Persimmon PLC. It's exactly the same. They're all the same. Just the numbers are different. So I'm not going to go into it. But at the beginning of the year, there was obviously some talk of you know, housing going to be more affordable more of the time because of the crisis that the then government thought we were going to hit. That didn't work out that the way they said it was going to, but it was too late because the housing market had already taken a tumble, or started to. I think around about here they were talking about it. It gets back up to around about this point, makes a double top or a high, but not a higher high. You see, it's not made a higher high than this line here. Doesn't breach it, falls over. And if you were going to be trading these stocks, and there's a quite an easy way to do the stock trading, but if you are going to be doing these stocks, 9200 is a very good way to do it. The 9 crosses below or above, and only normally go long on stocks, but housing, I'll take an exception. You just enter on the next available candle, put your stop above the 200, and you need to go for at least 1 to 3. But let's look how that would have looked. So there would be my top, there my bottom. So yeah, that'll do. So there's my risk. 2651 to 2804 is big. It's a lot. It's where's my measuring tool? God, I feel rough. That would have been 154 points. But you've got to go for 1 to 3, which is down at the 400%. This is 1 to 1, this is 1 to 2, and this is 1 to 3. And you would have easily made that, you know, in March, so 2 months later. And that 154 points on a through a stock sell, you know, you're looking at putting £1,000 into that. I think I did this last one, but let's do it again. because I'm not sure whether everyone understood that one. I don't think I understood it myself either. So if you have £1,000 to trade stocks and you wanted to go short persimmon, regardless of what the price of their stock is, it's a 154 point stop. So £1,000 divided by 155, I round up or round down, that's £6.45 a point. So it was dragged off there. So this, you would have £6.45 a point on through your stockbroker. It wins. Well, if you lose, you've lost £1,000. If it wins, which this one did, and they mainly do, not that every single one of them does, but they mainly do, that is 456 points. So we times this, so 6.4, let's just round it down. 6.4 times this number of 456. You've just trebled your money. And that's an easy one, didn't really need a calculator, because 1,000, 1 to 3 is times 3, isn't it? So that's the easy way of doing the stocks side of life. But anyway, I've only got Barrett or Persimmon or whoever you want to use, just for information purposes is only. Excuse me a second. God knows what I've got coming out of my chest. Anyway, good news or bad news, whichever way you want to look at it, we have breached this low of 2020. I wonder what happened here. I think we all know. Took everyone by surprise, I'm sure, apart from the Chinese. So it's breached this. So I would only be looking for longs, even if there was a massive engulfing candle that happened on Tuesday that took out, the past, month of candles here. I would not be trying to trade that short or even long on a stocks until it broke above these lows of 2020. Similarly, for Barrett, they've taken out the lows here. I think we're sat back at the low now of 2020, but it's got to breach above it and then stay above it, and then on the hourly, as long as it's above the 200, you would then take the first engulfing candle. And again, it's another no-brainer for stocks. Yes, you're going to lose a couple. You're going to lose this long if you went long here. You would make a nice wedge here. You would have made a little bit of money here, not a huge amount. Then there's no trade, a little bit of a loss, a little bit of a loss, a little bit of a loss, then a massive win on the 9-200 strategy, which we can talk about, in a couple of months' time. No biggie, but that's on the hourly. But see this massive drop here. Even on the 4 hourly, you could see it happening, and you had a couple of chances to get in. So way back over here, you would be looking at entering on a 9-200 short and just riding it all the way down. Excuse me. Daily, everything comes in waves. I talk about there's three of everything. There's always three things. There's always three ways to do something. There's always three truths. There's always three people that can do the same job. There's always three ways to learn, three ways to teach. There's always three. So if that's a peak, let's just say it is a peak. If that's another peak, and that's the third peak, forgetting this one here, if these combined as a third peak, it's going to fall off a cliff, and it does. And markets are exactly the same. And you only count the previous three. So if that's one, and that's one. There you go. There's three. Falls over. If you were here, well, that's a peak. 1, 2, 3. It's in an uptrend, but it's not looking like it's going to sustain this high. So 9-200 cross below, and away you go. Again, something we can look at another time. We've gone over that. Any questions about either market analysis or markets and or the spreadsheet itself? Otherwise, we'll call it a night, guys. I need to go and Get some paracetamol and some stuff down my neck. I'll have a big cough. I'll give it a minute if anyone wants to type a question in. Cheers, Cam. Look at me talking away again, and I've got my mute button on. I didn't mean to do that, guys, but now I've done it. I'm going to shut up. If there's no questions, I'm going to leave you to it. If you have got any questions, give me a shout in a couple of days. I should be alive again. Thanks for your time.